in the showroom, it's not unusual for somebody to say, wow, I didn't know that portraits were this expensive. So always be kind of thinking about, where is their point of reference from? Are they considering of when they were seniors in high school? Are they thinking of, well, my Aunt Betty has a camera and I know that she just charges $100 and she, lets people have things on a CD, that kind of thing. So those are questions, obviously, that should have been asked when you're doing the consultation or when you're talking to them on the phone, that they understand, that you are a professional photographer, that you do wall portrait art, and the work that you do and the time that goes into it, those kind of things. Now, one of the things that I have started doing is I want to go through and talk to my client about, in the wall portrait category, which we consider to be 16 by 20 or larger, this is where Clark is going to spend special time working and creating that original artistic expression that he does around the outside of each of the pieces. And as you see, each piece is unique. So he kind of senses the flow and the impact, of, what the mood was like and, where the lighting is to, create each one to be unique. And this process, takes 6 to 8 weeks, and that is the work that goes into each of those pieces. In reality, what I'm trying to bring them to understand is this is not just, a point and shoot and print, but these are things that we work on to create this wall portrait art. So also I'm going to go on and say, this is the true distinction of a Clark Marten. So I'm talking to them about, kind of what they're doing and why they're doing that. Now, these are some of the things that I'm always kind of sensing as they're sitting there with me. I want to know, what they're, how they're thinking, and I can read their faces so that as I'm talking about, what we're going to do and the price of where it's going to be at, and I'm always, wanting to talk value, and then I'm going to say price, and then I'm going to talk value, because I want to kind of sandwich it in there so that they understand that value, they understand, why they're doing what they're doing, the emotion that we're going to bring to it. Then we say the price, then again we follow that with that emotion again, so that they always understand how it relates to them and how it relates to the portraits that we're looking at of their family. So I will go on and say, what, I know how important this is, because in the time that we're talking to them on the phone, or if you do it in face consultation, that time you're finding out why, why are you doing this right now? What was the reasoning when you saw that portrait, either at the auction or at the mall or at your friend's house, whatever. What emotion went through? What were you imagining on the wall? Who are you imagining in that portrait with you? So they're going to be saying, well, I saw that and I just, I thought of my whole family and how my kids are all, they're all in that preteen age, and I just wanted to have this. They're telling us why. All right, I need to know that, and I need to know what their expectations are. So when they tell us that, then we're writing that down. So now the photographer knows what's happening, and now as I go into the showroom, I'm reading those notes, and I know why they're doing this. So I can even say, I know how important this is to you because, your kids are all, in that junior high, beginning of high school time, and it's really important, but this is kind of an investment. Let me talk to you and, help you talk about, what kind of investment you want to make. Now, by using the word investment, they understand this is not just a little bit of something. When you invest in something, you're spending more money. So, be cautious and careful about the words that you use so that you create that emotion that you want them to hear. Now, this is probably more as we're talking in the consultation, as I want them to understand, if you're looking for the cheapest photographer, we're not it. The work that we do and how we will make your family is going to feel, loved and worthy and important right here, right now, in a world where that doesn't happen very often, where they're going to love the way they look. But, we're not like other photographers. We believe it's not what you have in life, but rather who you have in your life. And that we are going to work with you, and our photographers, Rudy and Clark, are gifted in helping your family, have fun and, create this image that you're going to put on your wall and you're never going to take down. But if you're looking for the cheapest photographer, we're certainly not it. So I'm going to be upfront right off that they understand, we are a professional photographer who does a piece of art. Now, during the sales, I want to make sure and know that it's important that when they say these kind of things, all right, that knowledge stuff that I just kind of talked about, that should have happened already. And if it didn't, now I have to help them through this process of them thinking that this is expensive. So I'm going to say things like, you're going to put this on your wall and you're never going to take it down. Every time that you walk by it, you'll touch it, you'll wink at it, you'll see those smiles, and it'll just bring a warmth to you and an understanding and a love for your family, for your children, that you will see every day and just feel warm about it. I have my kids' pictures on my walls. Now, anytime that you can make a reference of, I know how you feel. I have a friend, who told me about how she felt, or I can even say, this is something I do. I have portraits of my kids in my bedroom wall, and I love that because every morning when I wake up and I see those images, it's just, they are the reason that I get up in the morning. They're the reason that I go to work. Those images, those smiles, those big eyes, those pouty lips, all of those kind of things, help them to create that emotion of understanding why they're doing this. I'm also going to tell them that it's only in a family portrait that your family's forever together. Life has a way of changing on us, but that family portrait on the wall, you will always be together in that family portrait, and life can't always guarantee that. So that is so important of why you did this, and you will never regret having done this because everyone is together. And that there is power in a family portrait, especially on those families who have those preteens. Any of us who have gone through that understand that this is a very powerful time because there's kind of that struggle of independence and they're trying to break out of that. But a family portrait, there's power in that because it tells those kids that these are my people. These people, they care about me. They care who I'm with, where I go, what time I come home. These are the people who love me unconditionally. These people care about me. I matter. And in our world today, there's a lot of kids out there who don't feel like they matter. And a family portrait speaks that without saying anything. It says, you know what, you matter, and this is the portrait that I have on the wall because you do matter. And our clients need to understand that, and they need to know that, and especially those clients who have those kids coming through that pre-adolescence. Also, when they say, I didn't know portraits were so expensive, I might say, I know, you know what, but don't you find that those things that are the best in our life, have also been more expensive? Help them relate that to, this isn't cheap, but what we're doing here is in relation to all of those other really important things that we do in our life that cost more money. All right, this is not just an expense today, but this is something that you're going to put on your wall and never take down. So really, you should divide this by, 30 years because that's really the time that you are going to have this and enjoy this on your wall. It's not something that decreases in value. It only increases in value. And in time, it is absolutely priceless because you can't get that time back. And I will go on and tell a story of my own father who now is gone. But that the wall portrait that we have of him and that time that we spent with him and created that image, when he did die, those were the things that everybody wanted. Everybody wanted a copy of that beautiful portrait that we took of him, standing out in his wheat field. And so those are things that people have to remember of why are you doing this? If it's something like a senior portrait, I will say, you know what, Molly's children will come back and look at this and they will see her as the beautiful young woman that she is. Help them understand that these are portraits that they're going to put on the wall and forever they will come back. I will say, you know what, Molly's children will come back and they'll go, oh my gosh, I have your lips. Oh my gosh, you know what, look how much we look alike through the eyes. This is that image that they will come back because at that age, that's the place where that comparison is, so wildly important. And I will also talk about in a senior portrait, when you put this on the wall, Molly, you will never forget how beautiful you are. Every time you see this portrait, you will understand and see absolutely how stunning you are. Now, what parent hasn't tried to help their child feel important and feel beautiful, but you know what, they won't ever listen to them? This is something that they can now have on their wall that when they see that, they are going to love it and go, oh my gosh, I am beautiful. And then the other one is just helping them understand that what they're doing is forever. That this is something that isn't just, we're going to have it out for a little while and then we're going to put it in a drawer, but this is something that they're going to hang on their wall and enjoy, every day. So as you hear people talk about these things, what they're really saying is that question of, these are expensive. How am I going to pay for this? This might also be the time that you would say, now remember, this is what our payment plan is. Or in my case, I would say we require half down to start processing. The rest is due when you're ready to come pick it up. I have payment plans. Even in our studio, we have a little sign that says, be sure to ask us about our payment plan. So that, and I do like that little sign that's up, because I've had people that after I kind of go through my little, pre-show that I go through and I talk about what we do and why we do it and kind of some of the pricing and thing. And I always ask at the end, does anybody have any questions? And it's very common for people to say, okay, I saw that you do have a payment plan. Because at this point, they are understanding the value and they're understanding that price a little bit more. But they know that I have a payment plan because they saw the little sign. So at this point, when they talk about the expense of it, you want to be answering their questions. And the other thing that I think is so important that we want to make sure to do is listen. Listen to what their question really is. You don't want to be jumping, and thinking you know what they're talking about. But listen, let them talk more and you listen, and so that you're sure to answer their question the exact way that they want to have it. So you always want to be asking questions and really listening to what they're saying and creating value. Anytime somebody talks about expense, to me that means that I haven't created value. So, consider anything that you would go and purchase. You go in and you think, all right, here is something and it's $100. You're thinking, is that worth $100? I have $100 in my pocket. Am I willing to give that my $100 in my pocket in trade for this one thing? And if it doesn't have that value, no, I'm not going to do that. Well, you know what? I'm asking people to give me $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. All right, I'm telling them that this portrait that's on the wall, they're going to trade me $4,000 for this. So I have to create a value. How much value? A lot of value. So never underestimate the words that are coming out of your mouth, because that's where you're going to be telling them how they're going to love this, how they're going to enjoy this forever, how there is going to be such value in this every time they look at it, every time their kids look at it, every time their friends come and look at it. Their friends are going to be jealous because, oh my gosh, you went to Clark Martin, you have this beautiful piece of art that is your family. That is value. So always be creating value in everything you do. In fact, I would even say write down the things that you can think of that create value of the work that you do, so that you always have that, because whenever somebody starts to talk about a question that they have that has anything to do with expense, you have to offset that with value, because it's only when the value is high enough that they're going to be giving you their money. Now, different people are going to be different ways. We have the accountants and the engineers who are really tight with their money. The value has to be very great for them to let go of any of their money. There's other people who they're much more artsier, much more soft-hearted, and for them, oh my gosh, the value and the money has a whole different thing than of an accountant and an engineer. So understand who your client is, and also understand how you can create that value.